All right, so the next episode for the van is going to be a new exhaust. That thing's not hooked to anything right now. I'll just start it up. I'll get a key and then I'll start it up here. Kind of hear it. So the muffler's blown out, tailpipe's busted off, and it's going to get a new one. New muffler and tailpipe. So stay tuned for some major excitement here. So that's the muffler that's going on it. This is a Dynamax Ultra Flow. So essentially it's a straight through, side in, center out, or center in, side out. It's just a pipe that goes through here, perforated with some fiberglass insulation there, whatever, for whatever noise reduction it can do. These are 2.5 inch. I welded on some extensions here. And then I've got band clamps, or I'll weld and use band clamps once I get this thing, get the old one cut out and get that thing fitted on there. So that's what's going to go on it. And then I've got a big supply of 2.5 inch pipe. This one here, it's probably what I'm going to wind up using because I got some bends in there and make a tailpipe out of that. This is a 2.5 inch. That's 3 inch. So I've got enough here to make something work here. So it might be a little bit of cutting and welding, but in any case, it's going to be done and at no cost to myself here because I've already got the stuff. All right, so I'm going to be doing this on a gravel driveway, and in order to get a decent working surface here, I'm going to use, I got a 4x8 sheet of hardy board, this here, which is what my garage is built out of. So I'm going to lay that down, and that's what I'm going to be laying on as I work on this thing. So watch as I struggle to get this moved into place. Okay, so the outer tire's outer sidewall is 75 inches on the back axle. So I've got the ramp set up to that. Hopefully I get this without having to do too much adjustment, but essentially I want the hardy board somewhat center of the vehicle. So we'll back this up here and get this thing up in the air. There, that should do the trick. So now we got everything underneath the vehicle and get cracking here. All right, so here's what we're dealing with. Muffler's blown out here, tailpipe just hanging by that bracket, that clamp, and bungee cord at that end. So this is going to come off first, and then we will get rid of this, and I'll see what I can do to make a a tailpipe for it. A few bends in there, but I honestly don't think I need to go as big a bend around here, around the axle, as what this is, because it's not like this thing is bottoming out or anything, but we'll figure that out. First is this. Now, the muffler that I have ready to go on here is 31 inches long, end to end, so it's pipe inlet to outlet. I need to see what we're dealing with here to know where to cut, or at least get a good idea where to cut. 31.5 inches. So I'm gonna, and I already, there we are. So I'm just gonna mark on here where to cut. Go this way here. 30, we'll go 31 inches. So that's gonna be right about there. So I'm just going to slice that. I'll say this because I don't matter. Actually, let's get a better look at this thing. What we're dealing with. So this pipe looks newer, right? This pipe here is going to be, this is like, must have had an exhaust put on here a while ago. This is kind of corroded, but I think it's solid. So I'm just going to cut it. This is where it joins. I think what I'll do is I'll just cut it. Let's just get the muffler. See how that sets up in here. So I don't want it by the cross member, so we're going to go, I'm going to cut it where I originally figured we're going to cut, which is right about there. That's a smaller pipe, so I'm going to cut it here because it necks down 2.5, probably goes to 2 1/4. So I'm going to cut it here. That way I can just put a strap on here, band clamp strap, get that on, and then figure out a mounting bracket to hold this on. I've got several options here, and then we'll play it by ear, see how things go. So I'm going to get my reciprocating saw, and I'm going to proceed to cut this thing off. Let's get this out of the way. So we'll cut it with the big part here. Got a new metal cutting blade on here. And the trick is to cut it as straight as I can, which I have no clue as to whether I'm going straight or not, but if I go on the guide here, it'll get me as straight as I think I can get. So give her a cut. That was easy. Now, let's get this off here. So I'm going to get my grinder. Oh, yeah, there we are. I'm going to get my grinder and cut the cut these clamps off here, at least the one, to get over this thing. And if this is still salvageable, I might just reuse this, or at least maybe repair it down there. I don't think I can squeeze it out. Okay, so hang tight. Okay, I know you're as curious as I am as to what this sounds like without a muffler, straight pipe. So let's just wake the neighborhood up here. Quiet. I guess there's only so much 100 70 horsepower can do noise-wise. All right, let's get that grinder and we'll cut the bracket off there, the clamp. All right, grinding time here. I didn't cut right through. Keep going here. Get this side here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Off. Done. The fun part is going to be cutting this muffler apart to see where it failed and what it actually looks like inside baffle wise. So this is okay. I can reuse this. I'm just going to clean this up. I'll grind some of that down, clean it up, but that'll be fine. This, if you didn't see that. So that's a usable piece. Okay, so we'll get the clamp on here. And then we'll set the muffler in there. This is all a bunch of pieces. So, stainless steel clamp. Okay, so the way this works is this goes in like this goes in like that. This goes in the middle. So 3 pieces or 4 pieces. So you got this bit on the outside. The double contoured one is on the inside, and then outside and nutted on this side, nutted on that side, and we're going to put it on like so. Yeah, so it's just barely fits. Okay. Well, I guess I got to do this the hard way, which in the long run will be the easy way. Okay, see what the problem is. This middle piece has a contour and a flat, so I had it the wrong way. So we want the contour this way against the pipe. Like so. And this. And that. And the nut. Now, you can get one piece, which are a hell of a lot easier to work with than this. But we'll make this work. Okay, I'll struggle with this and we'll get back. Okay, I put the spacer in and it worked good. So it's just a matter of stretching that clamp out a touch. I also flip the bracket around so that I can go from underneath on the bolt head as opposed to the nut side of things. We'll clamp this down. There. Okay, so that's solid. So the next is the tailpipe, but before we get to that, I'm curious what this sounds like without a tailpipe. So let's hear what the muffler sounds like. So we had before, during, and after. This being the second during. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. Okay. Getting too old for this. Let's see. That's not bad. A bit of a burble. All right, so now we got to get some exhaust pipe down here. So, this van engine needs valve guide seals because it smokes when it's hot, but doesn't use oil. So let's see what we got here. I'm gonna grab this pipe. Not everything comes down on me. All right, so this is a header pipe. So this is an exhaust. This was on my 79 Camaro. Then I went to 3-inch. So let's see what we got there. This is the other side. I don't want everything to come down on me here. That's not going to come out so easy. Well, there we go. Okay, so here's what I got to play with. Then, so there's going to probably be some cutting and welding going on here. And I think everything else I got here is 3-inch, so I'm not going to have any. So the trick here with this right now is I got to get under with what I have and see what we have to do. Now, let's get this clamp off here. There's a clamp on this. I'm going to see if I can get that off and wiggle that pipe out, but I doubt it. This one here is already off. I don't think I'm going to get it out of here. No, that's going to be on. So I'm going to leave it. If I have to, I'll weld it just to make sure it's not going to come apart. Now the other thing we can do, I think, is, I don't know what size these are. These are 3-inch. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Because I do have lots of 3-inch pipe, but it's just a little. No, that's not going to work. What I was thinking was, I got the ball flange. I could do. That's the other end of the equation. But these are 3-inch, so that's not going to work, at least not easily. Okay, so let's crawl underneath the van here and these pipes and see what we got to do. All right, so back under. Let's see what we're dealing with here. This might work as it is. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut the flange off. I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to run this up and over, and then I'll cut up some pipe and we'll weld it together. But first, I got to get this piece of junk off here. So, yeah, okay, I got to get this off, wiggle it out of here, and then play that out. So this pipe will work. All right, what do I need for a wrench here? Muffler clamp off. I don't know where you can see that, but there. So this still has the original shocks. While we're under here, you can see now that one there is leaking. So that one ain't. Or if it is, it ain't leaking as bad, so I'm gonna have to get a new set of shocks put on this thing. I was feeling hit a bump, and that axle felt like it was bouncing around a little too much, so that is why. Okay, I'll get this off, and then we'll catch up when I got that done. Okay, here's the old tailpipe. Seen better days, blowing out here. Blowing out there. Here's the muffler. I'm looking forward to cutting that thing open. Okay, so next step here is to cut the flange on here. Am I in the picture? Yeah, kind of. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to weld the flange right there. I'm going to weld that up because I know, and I don't want to put a clamp on it. And I know that if I don't, the heat and the vibration and all that kind of fun stuff is going to come loose, and it's going to be a problem down the road. So stay put while I weld this up. Let's go like that. And I think this is going to work. I'm going to grind the junk off of there. Okay, so ground. Turn this on. Should wear gloves, but I'm not. I'm not going to go all around. I'm going to do 4 or 5 spots, so I don't want to waste wire. And all I want is it for it is to stay put. I don't want to just breaking down the road here. So a couple of welds will do the trick. That's good. Get one here. Okay, so that's not going to go anywhere. That's good enough. So just got a brush here. We'll clean this up. This is flux core welder, so they do make a little bit of a messy weld, but all you got to do is brush it out. It's good. And honestly, you don't have to if you don't want to. It's just, for me, I just prefer it looks a little cleaner. And if you're new to MIG welding, if you're getting all sorts of bubblegum welds or the wires popping and it's jumping on you, start at the lowest speed setting on your welder and then work your way up. If you're going too fast, your wire's coming out too quick and it's bouncing off and you're not getting an actual weld. So if you slow down, you have to play around with your heat settings a little bit, but slow down and you'll be able to get that, find that, just that sweet spot there. Because that's what's happening to me. As I was bouncing, I was getting shitty looking welds. You know what, I kept going faster and I thought, no, I'm gonna go slow. And I did, and then I just worked my way up. And so I was at 5 on this welder for speed. Now I'm at 2.5, and it does a nice job. So just a little helpful hint there, hopefully. Okay, so now I'm gonna clean up the flashing here. I just gotta get my grinder, and then I'll just clean that up, and we'll see where this, get it under the van here again, and then see what happens. See where it takes us. Okay, so here's where I'm at with the pipe. So this pipe will, we get under here proper. You can see, well, clear. I'm going to set it up like this, so it's over the axle. Get that as high as I can. I'll get a bracket, like a muffler clamp or a hanger. Bolt the hanger on here, or over there, or whatever, to hold it up. I'm going to tighten this down now, right here, and then we'll go to the back there and see what we got to do to get a tailpipe put on here. So, get my battery, and I'm going to put this on like it ain't coming off. So. Okay, let's tighten this one here up. Other way. So, here's how it looks. It wants to kind of bump up against that shock there on the driver's side shock, but we're not gonna, that's not going to be a worry. So I'll just clamp it over. So now we got to get to the back of this thing and start figuring out map out a tailpipe. So it's got to come out, down, and to the driver's side of the back, or something like that. Hopefully you can see that. Let's make sure. Okay, so this is where we gotta hook up here. So we gotta come through here and then out that way. So I think what we're gonna do is let's just go mock this up somewhat. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut this here. Actually, I'll cut it around here. And I'm going to wind up cutting this pipe down, but I want to get this clear so that I can kind of get an idea as to where that exit's going to go. So we'll catch up when I get that done. All right, so I think I'm done. This mounted here, it's perfect for a tailpipe right out the back. So that's what I'm going to do instead of messing around. Now the only problem is I don't have a clamp for this, so I'm certainly not going to weld around the fuel tank. So I might wind up taking this pipe off again, welding everything, and then getting it on. But I'm going to check my stock on clamps and see whether I have something here that'll work. Okay, so I don't have another 2-inch clamp, band clamp at least. So what I'm going to wind up doing here is I'm going to pull the whole pipe out. I'm going to weld it. It's going to go in as one. So all I got to do now is just kind of clock this thing. I got to mark it as to where I want it to be. And then I'll take it apart, weld it, and put it together, and hopefully everything slides through like that. It should. If not, I might have to cut 2 pieces. So we're gonna go like that. So I've just marked it in three lines there so I can get it clocked properly. You can see that or not, but that's where it's going to get welded. It's marked on the other side. I got to get that off there, and then we're good to go on. I'll start welding. In the meantime, seeing as this battery on this camera goes dead on me all the time, I gotta get this on the charger for a bit. So we'll catch up once everything's all welded and ready to go in. All right, so there it is. Not hitting on anything right now. I just got it sitting on a jack stand, but any gearhead. It's more important right now to hear how it sounds than anything else. So let's fire this puppy up. Got a little rumble. bumper. See there, pipe there. So now next task is to get the muffler hangers on there and secure it so it doesn't flop around. So that'll be the next task, and we'll see. We'll get going on that right away. Okay, so I got this style muffler clamp here, exhaust clamp. I'm gonna put a 90-degree bend right here. Right here. I'm gonna bolt that up straight up into a cross member, and then I'll run a clamp through here, and I'm hoping that'll work. So we're gonna what's the best way to do this now? I could go, yeah. There's no, gotta go with this. So yes, I'll tell you. Okay, stable. Okay, so that give me almost 90. See if I can get a little bit more out of it. That's about all I'm gonna get. 90. I got some couple self-tapping screws, which I should have here. Self-drilling, self-tapping. Hopefully I don't have to go to the store to get some. And I will find those because I know I have some. So we'll find those and then we'll get back to work here. All right. See those two dots? That's where the muffler clamp is going to go, the exhaust clamp is going to go. So the pipe is kind of in the way, but I'm going to attempt to do this without taking the pipe off, because I don't want to do that at this point, but if I have to, I will. So that. Get at it from here. Nope, I gotta go straight in. Okay, well that was pleasant. Get my face full of metal shavings. I liked it so much, let's do it again. It's always fun doing this kind of stuff. I gotta go in here. I'll move a little bit out of the way if I can. Yeah, that's gotta. Don't really need a second one, but I just want to put a second one in for a little bit of insurance. Okay, there we go. Nope. Okay. So that's there now. Okay, so once again the camera shut off. Kill an ant here because I don't want it crawling all over me. Now we'll get this through here. That there. Let's just make life a little easier. So, for Christmas, I really want to lift. That doesn't work. There we go. There. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Okay, we'll just get a nut on here for now just to hold it. Again, these are cheap muffler clamps, but whatever. Amazon specials. But they should do the trick. Where'd that lock nut? Okay, well, I don't have the lock nut, so now it doesn't matter. Grab another one. I don't want it coming off. Suppose I could use a lock. It's a lock washer or a lock nut, but mine are ones I have are nylocks, and the heat might melt the nylon part of a lock nut, and we don't want that. I'm going to get by with just one clamp here, I think. I might put one up further up here. Just take the stress off the middle part. Okay, so zap this on. Half-inch drive. That ain't gonna work. Got a 3/8" drive here. Okay, back in business. Get this zapped on here. Alright, so let's get the muffler off, cut the exhaust pipe off the axle stand here. So I think I'm going to put one further down here as well, just to take the stress off the pipes here, the clamps here. I'm going to put one here now. This should be relatively straightforward. Should just do this. Yeah, so I'll just bolt it in, mount it there, and we're done. Take this off. I don't think it's going to fall off, but I'll leave that on because it's not going to come off. I got to get some screws and we'll get that bolted on. All right, so got the second one here. See it better there, I think. And we'll just zap this up nice and tight. And then we're done. There. So, muffler, tailpipe, bracket, up and over, bracket up there. Up there you can see it. I don't know. Tailpipe out the back. This is pretty straightforward and nice and straight too. So that's done. Let's get to the fun stuff here. Get that muffler cut open. All right, let's get this cut open. Get this out of the way. Get these out of the way. Let's now we got another layer. There we go. So it comes in, hits here, which was blown out, then travels, stays there, because that's just an empty chamber and there's no pipe coming back. So basically that creates back pressure there, and pushes out through here, and then into here, which pushes out through there and then out the tailpipe. Pretty restrictive. Anyhow, it's not on there now, so job is done. Once again, that's what it looks like. And killed mosquitoes here. That's what it sounds like. So that's it. We're done. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Yeah, this was a fun one. So catch up on the next episode. So that's what I got on here. This is the muffler, another one, but same muffler, straight through. So when you compare that one, what's on the van now, to this thing, as far as back pressure goes and restriction, there's next to none. So it'll be interesting to see if it performs any better or if I get any better fuel economy. So I'll be reporting on that in the future, run a couple of tanks through, and right now I'm getting about 12 and a half average. So we'll see. And if I do that's what I'm averaging. The last few tanks have been about 13 and a half miles per gallon. So that's Imperial. So we'll see. I suspect there'd be a bit of improvement, seeing as there's no back pressure, and I don't care what anybody says, the less back pressure the better. So a couple observations before the battery dies on me again. First of all, the idle is up about 100 RPM, 150 RPM. It's now at like 700, whereas before it was down around 500 or 600. It is definitely quieter in here, as you'll see, hopefully. Just waiting for some traffic. And I mean, this thing will cruise easy at 110 kilometers an hour now, whereas before it was a bit of a job to get it to 105. And there was a lot of drone with that muffler being blown out. But now inside here, it's quiet. You don't hear anything. And I think it's, I mean, it's hard to tell. You know, I don't have any timed comparisons, but it just seems to be a little less strained as far as power goes. But that was a pretty restrictive muffler, and that would definitely cost some power. Okay, so here we go. It's not a powerhouse by any means, but it is smoother. It does pick up easier. And there's no drone. Let me close the window here. Before there was always a drone. I'm doing 107 kilometers, and it's basically nice and comfy. So yeah, I think overall it's definitely one of the better things I've done to this. Had to do it anyhow, but definitely one of the better things. I do have a new carburetor for it, so I'm going to change that out, and then we'll start doing some mileage comparisons. It'll be a mileage comparison with the new carburetor and the exhaust, so we'll see where that goes. But anyhow, thanks for watching. Please hit subscribe. Stay tuned for more. This is a never-ending project. This was not easy, but this was a cheap one to do because I had all the parts. I didn't have to buy anything other than those band clamps, and maybe I bought $30 worth of parts, and that's about it. But as far as the pipe goes and the muffler, I had all that stuff already. So I'm happy with how this worked out. I'm doing $110 now, 111, and it's effortless. So I think it's a good move. So stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching.